I think fame is isolating. Jewel said that being famous is like the Lonely Hearts Club. That's what she called it.
Wow.
I think that's one of the reasons I connected with her is I think we both had experienced that. Like she was super, super famous at her peak, like one of the most famous singers, you know? And so she had to deal with a lot of that stuff. And I had been, you know, going through it for a while. And so it was just kind of like one of the few times that I connected with somebody about that, because I didn't really like hang out with that many famous women because I found that they were just more of a hassle and they like, I don't know, they just kind of more selfish, expected this, expected that. And I always preferred like, you know, girls that were more grateful and more genuine. So I kind of like stayed away from the famous girls, but with her, yeah, we had a really good conversation. It was just, like I said, eye-opening for me to like learn something from a woman and have her be like, you know, super intelligent and be able to like have good conversation. I hadn't done that for a while. So it was like, I hadn't done that with the guys, but you know, I don't know. Like I said, I was just like kind of solving for looks. And that was not the most.
I mean, the fame thing is like, I mean, we talked about the wealth of women, but like the fame thing is like its own mountain. And I feel like I've heard that from a lot of famous people, like, you know, in terms of things being transactional, it's like when you get to a certain level of status and you start questioning like why people are trying to connect with you and if it's meaningful, and it must make you even more wary of like, even with the connection point with women, like.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's always kind of like in the back of your mind because it's not something that, you know, like even a rich guy can like show up in a Pinto, you know what I mean, or like not talk about it or whatever, but like kind of like can't turn off fame if you're with a girl and you're like out at a coffee shop and a bunch of motherfuckers are like coming up to you, you know, and it's like you can't turn that off. So it's something that you're like constantly having to, and I don't go out that much, so for me it's whatever, I don't even care that much, but it is definitely an impediment to like normal human interactions. Like that's another thing too, is like the anxiety. Like a lot of people like come up with a lot of anxiety, so you have to deal with that. And that makes them just like less comfortable conversations because they are like thinking about what to say, or they're
You mean
super
coming
nervous.
up to you with anxiety?
Yeah, they're like super nervous about what to say. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want them to have like a bad experience, but at the same time, like when somebody comes up, I'm like, oh man, you're fucking awesome. You're the man. Like I want to have a life like yours. Where I've been following you for a while. It's like, what do you say? You know what I mean? Like, cool, man. You know what I mean? Like, where do you go from there? It's kind of like, it's just this, and then it kind of like stops, and then they like try and think of something to say, and it's like you're just having the same conversation with different people that is just not really going anywhere, and you're kind of like rushing to get out of there, and you know what I mean? It's just, I would rather have like natural interactions with a guy, you know, like, and I don't view myself as being much different than, you know, I think I'm probably smart. Well, I know I'm smarter than the average person, but aside from that, like, gone through some shit, whatever. Like I've definitely had more experiences, but I don't necessarily like think of myself as like being better than a lot of other people. So for me, when somebody treats me like, you know, I don't know, in this like, you know, way of like, oh, you know, you like this non-mortal. Yeah, exactly. Like when they look at you like a god or something, or like, you know, put you on a pedestal, and you don't view yourself like that, then it's like kind of like starts it off as like kind of a strange interaction.
It kind of makes you a foreigner, an alien to them,
and
you're like, I'm more like you than you realize.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, you know, you feel like a disconnect, and so instead of like, I think humans like have a natural connection to each other, and I think that's, you know, one of the reasons why it's like, you know, it makes you feel good to make somebody else happy. You have that natural human connection, and I think when they don't view you as being like a human, they look at you like you know, celebrity or whatever, it's like it breaks that normal human connection, and then you don't have that normal interaction like you normally would, then I feel like I said, it isolates you by default, right?
Yeah.
It's so interesting because like we distinguish ourselves on purpose only to have this kind of isolation from the distinction. It's such a horrible...
I have created this shitty bed that I have to sleep in, and I have made peace with it.